Does Brian know he muted himself?
No, we're live. Muted.
Let's try that again. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 289th episode of Real Hawk Talk. I am Brian Nemhauser, and you can find me on Twitter at HawkBlogger. And tonight we've got a show of shows. It is the week of Thanksgiving, which is a great week if you're a football fan. It's a great week if you love carbs. It's a great week if you love starch and family drama and dysfunction. All of those things happen this week. It is also a week in which we get to talk about what has been one of the best rivalries in the NFL and recently has been pretty lopsided. To talk about the Seahawks versus 49ers, I'm going to welcome in our crew tonight. We've got Evan Hill at Evan Hill HB. We've got Dayna O'Gorman at Dayna OG, and special guest, returning guest, friend of show, Mr. Grant Cohen. Grant, how are you doing, man? It's at Grant Cohen, by the way, GrantCohn on Twitter. What's going on, man?
Doing all right. I'm really excited to talk football with you guys. I picked the Seahawks to win the division. You were there. We were all there together.
We were there.
I mean, you're only a game out, but
winner of this game.
What the hell is going on?
What do you mean?
I have a bottle of. I bet a bottle of wine before the season started with my dad that the Seahawks would win this game. What's happening? Why is this happen? Why do they have a negative point differential? What is this?
Grant, do you remember the conversation at the beginning of the season?
I was so confident that the Seahawks were going to be better than the Niners, and now I feel stupid. And I blame you guys because you agreed with me.
Oh no!
Hold on.
You could have been like, Grant, you sound stupid. We know this team. No. Shane Waldron, terrible. But no, you guys just sat there and let me talk. You're like, this is hilarious. But you knew I was wrong. Thought you were my friends.
Grant, the matchups haven't even happened yet, though. You just said we're one game back, which is true. Tons of doom and gloom on Seahawks Twitter.
You lost to the Rams.
Oh, we always lose to the Rams. Sean McVay has bent us over a desk for like 5 years straight in a row. Okay,
touche.
Like that is just that's out of mind for me. It's an automatic
Fair.
L every single time we face the Rams. It almost doesn't count as a loss.
It's just weird because like the only time I watch the Rams is when the Niners face them and destroy them. They seem like the dumbest, like the weakest opponent. But I guess styles make fights. Whatever.
Yeah.
But why are the Seahawks going to match up better with the Niners? You couldn't beat the Rams, and now you got the Niners. Cool. I don't know.
See, this is disappointing because the way the conversation went at the start of the year, all of us were just super down on the Seahawks, and you came in here and were telling us why the Seahawks were going to win. And
that's what I know.
I'm confused. Why are you guys all down on the Seahawks and I'm all for the Seahawks? So I was really kind of counting on you coming in here and convincing us.
I'm so off your team. Couldn't be more off your team.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was just excited because you drafted Zach Charbonnet and he went to UCLA and I went to UCLA and I was like, nice. And I do think he's a good player.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice addition to your team. But Geno, I feel like it. Look,
say it.
Look, I feel like the Seahawks and the Patriots are kind of similar, man. That culture was Wilson. And I know you guys thought that he was bad and you ran him out of town and yada, 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 whatever. Whatever. Geno's not better than him. And it was funny, look, this is a crazy stat. Russell's 18-4 in his career against the Niners.
I know.
18-4, and he beat him last year with the Denver Broncos. Like, there's something special about the way he plays that the Niners just can't handle. Like, okay, he doesn't operate within the scheme. He doesn't take what the defense gives him. Okay, well, he extends plays, he gets away from pressure, and he gets the ball down the field. Like, those are the three things you have to do to beat the Niners. And that's just not what Geno wants to do. Geno wants to check it down. He wants to throw the 7-yard out. Like, the Niners are like, cool, man. Good luck. Keep doing that.
I think there's validity to that.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's one side of the ball. I think the other side of the ball is the Seahawks have had one of the most atrocious defenses for years. And they, like, if you can't stop the 49ers, like either from running or from passing, then good friggin' luck, And so,
and didn't they blame Russell Wilson's contract for that defense? Like, he's making so much money. What do you expect us to put together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they
All
did.
right.
For years,
So
Grant. For
Where's your
years,
defense?
they said that. For years.
I don't understand. What's up with Pete Carroll? I mean, he's not doing what Bill Belichick's doing in New England. That's embarrassing what Bill Belichick is doing. But this is very mediocre what Pete Carroll's accomplishing without Russell Wilson. Very
Brian,
mediocre.
I think it was a really bad mistake to bring Evan and Grant on the same show. I'm just telling you right now. I'm thinking that this was a terrible idea.
I agree with that guy.
Grant's got some points here, guys.
I know.
He's got
They're
some
your
points.
favorite points.
If I were in
Russell
Seattle
Wilson
right
is
now, I'd be
good.
going in.
Pete is bad.
I'm not impressed. I feel like
Yeah.
this team is kind of stale right now, you guys.
It is.
Well,
75-year-old
Grant
coach.
does bring a
Fucking-
good point up, though, that we expected for this team to take a pretty material step forward from last year.
Yeah.
Lots of key players, rookies, second year,
Young
entering their
team.
second year that we expected to, make big advances that haven't. And, they're about to enter, everybody knows this, they're about to enter a 4-game gauntlet, Seattle is, where they play the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Niners twice. So there's an opportunity to really make or break it here. And they could potentially slide. They could, if this goes wrong, they could end the year with a losing record.
Well, hold on one sec. So Dayna,
Yeah.
would you say that you're happy with the way the Seahawks season's gone?
It's about where I thought it was going to be. And that's what I kind of got into this earlier this year. We thought they would be better. They are better. That defense is better than it was. They have really weird moments where they make really weird decisions. But overall, for the most part, they are better. The offense is what's been baffling. And then you have these beautiful moments in the offense that really seem to kind of click and everything's going. The first drive of that Rams game, could you have asked for anything better? It was beautiful, right? And then it falls apart. Falls apart in the second half. Where do we lay that blame? Do you lay it on Geno, who was injured and out and then had to come back in to save the damn game?
No, it's on Jason Myers.
It is totally on Jason Myers. Oh, did you roll your eye there? But then you have
about
to
your
turn around and
coordinator?
look. It's like, okay, so he comes back in, or is on Shane Waldron for not making any adjustments and refusing to run it on third round and all of this. Who's it on? I think that, so am I happy? No, I'd be happy if they were still tied for first. But that's only one game out. So I am not in the depths of despair as Seahawks Twitter is right now. And some of our other friends are. I just am like, damn it. I really thought they'd be this much better.
All right,
Why are you not going to lose the next 4 games?
I think the odds are that they will win one of those games.
I think one or two.
I think the odds are that they will win one. And I think the only reason the odds are that they'll win one is because the likelihood of them losing 5 straight, the probabilities of that to me are too unlikely. I think that they find a way to win.
That's about right.
Yeah.
We're looking at 7-7 for this team and eventually like 8-9 or 9-9.
I figured they'd get 10 wins. No, they got 10 last year.
But that's not
them to be 10.
No, but that's okay. Hold on. So the measure of progress for the Seahawks to me is not winning. It's not making the playoffs, and it's not winning a playoff game. It is, are they moving closer to being an elite team, or are they not? And that's the part for me. What I wrote about Monday after the Rams game was this is a defense that's absolutely stepped forward from being one of the worst in the NFL to being league average.
I'll take it.
You've got an offense that was one of the top 10 in the NFL that's moved backwards to league average. And you've got old players mixed with young players, and some of the young players are going to step forward. But guess what? Bobby Wagner is not going to be around forever. Jordan Brooks, I don't know if you re-sign him. Geno Smith is Geno Smith. You've got questions about some of these older players that will move off the team, and Quandre Diggs should be off the team next year, most likely for salary cap reasons. So I think it's harder for me right now to make a case that the Seahawks are on a path towards being an elite team. It's much easier for me to make a case that the Seahawks are on a path to being mediocre. Like that they're going to be in the nasty middle of the NFL, and that Devin Witherspoon is like the best example. The secondary, the cornerbacks are the best example of a non-mediocre ascending part of a team for the Seahawks. I think the offensive line and the way offensive line has played this year and the injuries have been the primary reason why the offense has not been able to take a step forward and is in potential disarray. So I think I'm with Grant on this, which I didn't know if I was going to say it all tonight, but that's where I am right now. And I want to be talked out of it, but I think the Seahawks are not on a trajectory to escape the messy middle of the NFL.
That's purgatory, right? Right where you are.
Can be.
Not where you want to be.
So it's interesting that you say that, because we had a conversation amongst ours in our chat that, when somebody asked us if you would rather win one Super Bowl and then have 1 or 2 win seasons for the next 10 years, but you get another ring, or would you rather be in the mix every single year? And more of us wanted to be in the mix than win a ring and then have 10 years of unwatchable football. Where are you at on that, Grant? I know Brian was the only one, I think, that said he wanted to win the ring.
See, the Niners are the opposite. They're in the mix and they want like some type of trophy for being in the mix every year. Like, nope, doesn't work that way. You guys are not champions. Stop acting like you are. The thing with the Seahawks is like, great, you won that championship freaking
10
years ago. Wonderful. But there's no rule that says you have to hold on to the same formula for 10 years because it worked a whole different era ago. Like, you could move on at any time. And I think he's like the oldest coach in the league. He always has a terrible offensive coordinator. If Geno's the best he can do at quarterback, it might. Drew Lock is he going to play this? Is it going to be a Drew Lock? Is America going to have to watch Drew Lock on Thanksgiving? Because that's just un-American. I think that's unfair.
I agree with you there.
You're not going to get an argument from any of us on that.
The question for the Seahawks, the honest question is, are the Seahawks better off? Is there chances of being like getting the outcome they want for the season better off if Geno doesn't play? Are you just going to like mail this one in, or are you going to put him out there and put him in freaking harm's way against a very angry, very talented defense and potentially lose him for the rest of the year?
They're going to play him. I mean, they're trying their best to win 9 games this year. Like, good luck. I hope you guys win 9 games, but I just don't think, like you said, this team has found their spot in the essence of mediocrity. I don't think it's going to get much better. He's not going to luck into the next Russell Wilson. That was luck. Just like Belichick lucked into Tom Brady. I'm sorry. And just like Kyle Shanahan lucked into Brock Purdy. And I'm not saying Brock Purdy's on their level, but these coaches don't know what they're doing at quarterback. No. They don't. I mean, maybe a couple of them do, but most of them absolutely don't.
Right.
It's start throwing.
Even the best of them. So, yeah, sorry. You had Russell Wilson. Be thankful. Yeah. He's still good. I like watching him play. I'm sorry. I like Russell Wilson. We
all like Russell Wilson. Yeah. We all do. We like the draft picks he got us too, but we like Russell Wilson.
Brian, you like Russell Wilson, right? Right? You're a big Russell Wilson fan?
He's all right.
Yeah. This is a tough spoonful of truth from Grant.
I feel like Seahawks fans talk themselves out of Russell Wilson big time. And you really you had to choose. Is it him or is it Pete? Is it him or is it the culture?
But that's not even a question,
that Richard Sherman, Legion of Boom culture baloney. It's the quarterback every time. Every time.
I think you're completely wrong.
I do too. I completely think
you're like way off. There's
I'm not saying the Broncos are good or anything.
Whatever. I'm just saying, there is no way the Seahawks would be better off with Russell Wilson than they are with all the things that they've got for him.
Nope. No way.
There's no way.
All I know is as a prognosticator for the 49ers, if Russell Wilson were on the field tomorrow, I might pick the Seahawks.
You already picked the Seahawks.
But since he's not, and we got 0-3, Gino who's 0-3 against the Niners. I mean, not tomorrow, whenever they play.
Dude, but that is such a false premise. Yeah. Because you'd be talking about no Devin Witherspoon, no Charles Cross. You'd be talking about no, like half the players on the team wouldn't be there. So you'd be Russell Wilson.
Russell beat him with the Broncos last year, somehow.
Yes.
Somehow, some way.
That was a good defense that they had. That was a great defense.
One of the best defenses.
That's true. It was like a 13-10 game. Jimmy Garoppolo stepped out of bounds. Things happened.
Yeah. So, Grant, talk to us a little bit about the 49ers. Three losses in a row. That they just seem to really kind of lose their footing there for a while. What happened?
Well, the Cleveland game, they had a 10-0 lead and got ran down by Cleveland and PJ Walker. Like, they just didn't show up to that game. They started a fight before the game started. Debo got hurt immediately. Trent Williams got hurt immediately. They just no-showed that game. The next 2 games, like, they fell behind and couldn't come back. And that's what's interesting about the Niners. They're kind of a front-running team. What they do is they usually defer. The other team gets the ball first. Their defense gets to stop. They force the punt. They score first because they have a great script because Kyle Shanahan, like, asked his dad for some help. I don't know. His scripts are great. They're often up 10-0, and then it's tough to come back on the Niners because they can run the ball. They can do play action. They have a good defense. But Vikings took a 7-0 lead. Bengals took a 7-0 lead. If the Seahawks can somehow take a 7-0 lead, you got a chance because the Niners are all about playing from ahead. Everything they do is about playing, especially on offense. If you make Brock Purdy just a drop back passer, say, we don't care about the run, you're down 10. We don't care about play action, you're down 10. Drop back and throw. Now he has to take chances. Now he has to throw with anticipation. Now he throws picks. His quarterback rating when he's losing is 82. When he's winning is 127. So, I mean, you can't let the Niners get a lead early in the game. It's very much about how you start. If you go back and look at the NFC Championship game, Eagles took a 7-0 lead. They got the ball first. They converted a 4th down. There was a drop. Kyle should have challenged it. He didn't. They scored a touchdown. They're down 7. Kyle's already on tilt. He calls a shot play that he normally wouldn't call in his first series because he doesn't exactly know the look. Boom, Hassan Reddick knocks out Brock Purdy. End of game right there. Largely because the Eagles had a lead. It's a big deal. Can't fall behind the Niners unless you have PJ Walker. Then he'll bring you back.
Grant, so talk to us about the injury for Hufanga. Does that matter? Does it hurt this? I mean, he's an all-pro player. Does it matter for the 49ers?
Man, I like Talanoa Hufanga like a lot personally. So sorry, but I don't know. My inclination is no. I think he probably shouldn't have been an all-pro last year. He had 4 picks. He also gave up 6 touchdowns. If you watch the Niners, he gave up big plays. He would often jump routes and give up long touchdowns, and it was a problem. But he's famous. You know, he's got associations, and he was on the best defense, so he became all-pro. But, like, this year, you know, he's not a playmaker as a blitzer. He's not a playmaker very much in coverage. And as soon as he went down, the Niners brought in Jair Brown, who was their first draft pick this year. They traded up for him in round 3, went to Penn State. He had 3 pass breakups in the 4th quarter, 2 in the end zone, 1 was a pick. Like, the Niners really took their foot off the gas, an old team. And they were up 27-7 in the 3rd quarter. They were like, we got this. All of a sudden, Bucks come down. They're like right at the goal line. Well, inside the 10 twice. And the Niners are just kind of on their heels. And this rookie steps up and shuts the door for an old team that was kind of cruising. So I actually think he might be a big upgrade for the 49ers. This Jair Brown guy's their top draft pick. And they're an old team. They need someone young to like give them some energy. They're coasting. That's why that's the best thing the Seahawks have going for them this week is the Niners are old and might just overlook them because they got the Eagles next week. Seriously.
You have to understand the uniform impact as well. I don't know if you're prepared.
Is it going to be that green?
It is the neon green. It is.
It hurts. It hurts my eyes.
It's tough to look at. It's tough to look at for a lot of players. Evan, you have a question. I was going to ask a couple more, but you look like you're unmuted.
Oh my God. I had a question about something completely unrelated for Grant.
Do it.
Grant, I need to know your stance on Thanksgiving food and turkey. Is turkey good?
Is turkey good?
Yeah. Is turkey good?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You like turkey? You're eating turkey like multiple times a year?
Yeah, like what kind of question is that, Evan? Like,
you're going to the grocery store and you're making a turkey multiple times a year?
No, I eat a turkey sandwich like a lot. I like a turkey sandwich.
Okay,
and I like taking some of the meat that you get and making a turkey sandwich after Thanksgiving. What? No, but I do what you mean. Like you don't go out and get like a roast turkey any other night. But what's good about it is all the other stuff.
Okay. Let me rephrase. Follow-up question for Kyle Shanahan's favorite reporter. Favorite Thanksgiving dish and most overrated Thanksgiving dish?
I like the stuffing.
Okay. Respectable.
I like the stuffing. Stuffing's an art. Whether it's in the bird or out the bird, it's the only night of the year you have anything like that. So, I mean, I love mac and cheese, but you have that. That's not necessarily a Thanksgiving thing. It adds to the dish. I'm not mad if someone makes great mac and cheese on Thanksgiving, but like something you only have that day, the stuffing. You can have mashed potatoes any day, but that stuffing is special if it's done well. I know some people in the Niners, I like acorn squash. Don't know what that is.
I've never heard of that in my entire life.
Really?
Acorn
That's
squash?
the closest thing.
Acorn squash.
The little green
Is
ones.
it good? Is it good?
What?
I bet it's good. I bet it's good. I bet it's good. I've never had it. I don't know.
Okay, most overrated. Go on the record, Grant. Get flamed on Twitter for this. I know you have something in the back of your head that you just want to share. I just know
So
it.
what are the options here?
All the options. All the options. Pick one.
I don't know, man. I'm a big fan. I think everything has its place. The cranberry sauce is phenomenal.
I'm with Grant. I think. I mean,
Grant. Grant,
I think of any vegetable on Thanksgiving is overrated. I think it's generally not needed. It is a starch, like it is mashed potatoes.
Yeah, what vegetable?
Potatoes.
I don't even understand
Like, you
what
know,
vegetable
like
you would eat.
vegetables are not necessary.
No,
okay.
No.
Okay.
There's not enough space on your plate for that.
Green bean casserole. Pro or against?
Yeah.
I would never have that. See, but I've never had.
You.
I don't even know what that is. Like, no
one in my
dish
family
is
makes
so garbage.
Grant,
You
need to understand that part of the reason Evan's asking this is he hates Thanksgiving food, and he is coming to my place. He's flying to Seattle, and he's going to be subjected to Thanksgiving food at my house.
You seem like a lot of fun, Evan. I like you.
Grant, I'm just telling you, Thanksgiving food in general, I'll just say it this way. I'll put it very delicately. There's a reason we eat Thanksgiving food most commonly only once a year. There's a reason.
Yeah, but it's fun. Like it's not.
Oh,
it's not
yeah, sure.
It's egalitarian. You put gravy on all that shit.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I'm a gravy proponent.
Like $50 for like 1 million people.
100% agreed. 100% agreed. I love the equity part of it. Gravy, mashed potatoes, stuffing. I love all of that. I'm just saying turkey, green bean casserole. Let's get it out of here. Let's cook some steaks. Let's make some steaks instead. Like let's bring in some real meat that people actually
Let's get some ribeyes in here. Come on.
Straight up.
Steaks the night before, dude. You'll get steaks the
100%. Okay. Sorry.
I'm bringing it back.
That was such a critical
I'm bringing it
segue.
back. I appreciate that line of questions, and it also gives me some insight into what I'm going to need to deal with.
Cranberry is not overrated. No one goes to the store and says, I'm buying canned cranberries out of Thanksgiving. Man, you got to dress that up, dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Real cranberry. Although I don't mind the canned cranberry sauce.
It has to have lines in it or it's not good. It's just the way it is.
It can happen.
Okay.
Grant's 49ers offensive line. Trent Williams been playing, was injured, then came back. He's not having the season quietly that he has in past years. And that 49ers offensive line has not been as good as I think fans had hoped, especially in pass protection. Are you seeing that show up? Has anyone really tested that? Has anyone really gotten to Purdy and made him uncomfortable?
Well, yeah. Yeah. The Cincinnati Bengals did. Vikings did. I mean, the Browns did. Like, if you can get ahead of the Niners and don't worry too much about their running game and their play action game, you can do it. Their offensive line is not built. The whole offense isn't built to come from behind. From the coach to the quarterback to the offensive line, it's the whole thing. They're not built to come from behind. They're built to play with the lead and run the ball. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of depends on the situation in the game. When Trent Williams is out, they suck. They suck because, okay, think about it. They're run first team. They can't run right because that side is terrible. They got to run left. And when you have Trent Williams and George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey, you can run left in a lot of different ways. What they do. Once he's not out there, like where are you going? Where are you going? Even if you have Christian McCaffrey, it doesn't matter. So they're very, very dependent on Trent Williams being out there, feeling healthy, which is he's 35. He misses games all the time.
If you were to design a game plan to try to beat the 49ers, what would be the key elements of that? You talked about getting ahead, but like, how are you getting ahead? How are you defending this team? Like, what is the way that you're, someone brings you, Pete Carroll, he brings you in and he's like, Grant, Kyle Shanahan hates you. I love you. Tell me everything I need to know about how to beat his team. How do you do it?
That is such a good question. That's such a good question.
Well, I think you got to look at what the Browns did. You got to play man-to-man coverage, I think. Like, if you play zone between Brock, like, the Niners do so many shifts and motions. Like, they'll diagnose what you're doing in zone. And Brock's really smart, and he has so many weapons that he'll essentially dice you up if you play zone. He'll complete 80% of his throws. Like, if you play man, though, and you can really cover Brandon Ayuk, because Debo's not separating, and Kittle's good after the catch, and McCaffrey's a great player, but he's not killing you as a receiver. If you can really cover Brandon Ayuk man-to-man, you got a chance. Because right now he's destroying people, and I feel like Seahawks can do it. That's why you drafted Devin Witherspoon. You have Tariq Woolen. You guys have one of the better secondaries in the league. And if you can force Brock Purdy to, like, not just diagnose the defense pre-snap, know where the hole's going to be and go there, force them to actually read the field and see who gets open and hold the ball, you got a chance. I think man coverage forces the quarterback to hold it a little bit longer, and that brings the offensive line into play.
I mean, that's one of the interesting things that got lost in the Rams' loss is the first game of the season, Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell absolutely eviscerated the Seahawks secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Witherspoon didn't play in that game. Trey Brown played poorly in that game. They're playing it. Tariq Woolen was not playing at his best, still coming off of injury. This game, there were not receivers running open. Puka Nacua was not having an easy time getting open. And when it was not because it was man-to-man. It was like sitting down in his zone in the middle of the field and the Seahawks not guarding him. But
exactly.
like, I do think that the Seahawks.
All Puka Nacua does, right? He runs the curl route. 8-yard curl. You
don't have to deal with watching this. You're not even a 49ers fan, but watching the Seahawks design a third down defense where they all play behind the sticks and leave the middle of the field wide open, and the guy's like standing there with no one within 5 yards of him for a 10-yard gain on 3rd and 9 is like so aggravating, and that does happen more than.
But like the reason you drafted Devin Witherspoon is so you can match up.
That's right.
With the Niners, right? I mean, I thought that pick was genius. I mean, even though Jalen Carter is so good, I got it. It seems to me like if you're going to match up, if you're going to beat the Niners, you got to be able to match up with their receivers, particularly Ayuk. And
there's another player they added specifically for the 49ers. I think Julian Love was added specifically for George Kittle. And so I think the Seahawks have been Pete Carroll and John Schneider have been looking at this game since last year. And I don't know if they've done enough to like, they definitely haven't done enough to be favored or likely to win. I think the question is like last time the Seahawks played them, they were ahead like at halftime and within a score through 3 quarters or whatever. And then they got blown out. So the question
I thought they had the right idea in that game. They were like, let's play cover 1. Let's play robber. Let's play, not 2 deep safeties. Let's take away that 10-yard in-cut route that Kyle feasts on and force Brock or dare Brock Purdy to throw the ball outside the numbers down the field. Like, yeah, that's exactly what you want to do. It's just the Seahawks didn't really have the talent to pull it off. Now you do. I think the reason I just don't take the Seahawks seriously is more their offense. I mean, from the coordinator to the quarterback to the offensive line, like I like the weapons. I like the running back. I like the wide receivers, but it's just such a unimaginative, stodgy offense every year.
Grant,
forever.
What's your perspective on Shane Waldron as an outsider? I'm super curious.
Like just a anonymous nobody who's terrible. That's another guy. Hey, they got it from the Rams, right? Yeah, some guy they got from the Rams who probably didn't call plays at the Rams, but was sort of watching Sean McVay call plays. And Pete Carroll was like, oh, man, I always lose to the Rams. Let me bring someone from them and weaken them when really the Rams didn't care about losing Shane Waldron. Probably were happy. I got good. You take him. Well, I don't know, but it doesn't seem like he's actually. What is the staple of a Shane Waldron offense?
Nobody knows. That's the thing. If anything, it's tight ends. The Seahawks managed. Pete Carroll managed. It's not even just the Mike Shanahan coaching tree. And you go to the Washington, when it was the Washington Redskins staff, where the only thing you could do was hire the next great coach. Kyle Shanahan was there. Mike McDaniel was there. Like Sean McVay was there. Like every great offensive coach was there. AJ Gruden, you can decide whether you think he's great, but he had some good years. Shane Waldron was there.
Yeah.
The Seahawks managed to get the one guy, the one guy on that offensive staff that doesn't know how to be great. And it
seems to me like it's tough to find a good offensive coordinator. Like this is Robert Saleh's problem. If you're a defensive coach, any good offensive coordinator is a head coach. Even mediocre offensive coordinators are head coaches. But if you're an offensive coach like Kyle Shanahan, I feel like it's easy to find good defensive coordinators because no one really wants a defensive coach. Well, some Seattle, but most teams don't anymore for obvious reasons.
That is absolutely true.
So
here's the thing. I'm going to make a quick case for how I think the Seahawks can beat the 49ers. See if this holds any water whatsoever. So I think that their game plan last year in the playoffs was to rely on the run game more and to really get into third and shorter downs. So they weren't in a big problem against the pass rush. basically to protect, not to turn over, to be relatively conservative. I think the 49ers on offense, I think if you can't stop everything. If you can pick one thing to stop on the 49ers, it's the run game. I think you absolutely have to stop the run game. And evidence to that, in their 3 losses, the 3 in a row, those were their 3 lowest rush yard on offense outputs of the year, including the only game this year they've had less than 100 yards rushing. So I think that slowing down the run turns them into a more predictable passing offense. I think that then pushes you into your secondary, which is your strength. And you have to hope that those guys can hold up. You got to commit enough guys to the run that you stop that. And then you got to hope that your secondary holds up and takes advantage of Brock Purdy takes some chances and turns the ball over.
If you can make the Niners one-dimensional on offense, you can beat them. But that's easier said than done. You have to have a lead. You have to be able to stop the run. So you have to have – that's it. You have to – that's it. And 3 teams did it in a row. So it's doable. And those teams, none of them were that good. Minnesota?
And Brian, how has Seattle's run defense fared over the past 3 weeks?
Ooh.
It was all right.
They did well.
Okay.
They did well against Baltimore.
Bottom 6 in the NFL, 159 yards rushing allowed per game.
Yeah, but that is actually like
you can't tell me that doesn't matter
on the Seahawks, but that's misleading.
You can't tell me that doesn't matter.
Rushing in one game. so
take the average, right? Yeah.
They did fine against the run against the Rams. They did fine, and they did fine against it wasn't their best, but
the Rams are terrible at running the ball.
What's that?
Who's their running back? The Rams are terrible at running the ball. What's his face?
Oh, I know. Royce Freeman.
I can't believe he was still in the NFL.
I didn't know he was.
Oregon?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe. We're not going to spend time talking about Royce Freeman on this show.
Sorry, that was already too much.
So 100%. Do you guys, is that the formula? Does anyone have, is that completely unrealistic?
It's not unrealistic.
8 in the box, single high. Don't you ever play 2 deep safeties against the 49ers. Don't you ever. Single high safety, 8 in the box. Take away the intermediate throws over the middle. Take away the run if you can, and see what you can do one-on-one against Brandon Ayuk. See what you can do.
Trey, please clip Grant saying "Don't you ever," and then when Seahawks play 2 deep safety on Thursday, please clip that.
Don't you ever,
please. That's like a perfect moment.
I feel like so many defenses in the league just do that without thinking, and you do that against the Niners, you're gonna lose.
Okay, I got another question for you. Seahawks have all of a sudden become good at screen passes. And I think I've seen the 49ers struggle a little bit with defending the screen. Am I right?
Yeah, they sure have. If you want to beat the Niners, you want to run to the perimeter because they're not setting edges this year for whatever reason under new defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes, and they're not defending screen passes particularly well either. So I know that was a big emphasis this offseason to add that to the offense there. And I know Zach Charbonnet does that real well because I went to UCLA and I watched him there, and he's terrific as a receiver. That's a great way to go after the 49ers. You want to negate their pass rush as much as possible. So make Nick Bosa chase plays left and right. That's a good thing to do. They get upfield so fast that you just sell the screen. It can work.
Evan, Dayna, more questions for Grant before we let him return to his otherwise scheduled programs for the evening.
Which version of Brock Purdy are we going to get on Thursday?
Isn't that the $1 million question?
If he's winning, you're going to get the Brock Purdy that just eviscerates anyone. He's really good when he's winning. He doesn't try to do too much. He's thrown no picks this year when he's winning. But if you can get him losing all of a sudden, he tries to do too much. He wants to be the hero. He'll try to make plays. He'll anticipate things that aren't there. So, I mean, it kind of depends on you, man. Kind of depends on you, dude. If you make him try to do, like, you have to do stuff when you're losing. You actually have to play. When you're winning, it's so easy, man. You just take what the defense gives you, check it down, make a couple plays. Everyone says you're the greatest. So
I do not understand why people have not taken away the middle of the field from him. All his big throws are middle of the field. I don't understand why that's just like a no throw zone and like force everything outside the hashes. Like I don't understand why. Like I'm not a defensive coordinator, but I don't get it because it seems really clear that's his zone.
I don't know, man. It seemed like Tampa couldn't do anything. They have the worst pass defense in the league. That Jamel Dean guy. Anytime Brandon Ayuk ran a route. That guy fell down and got like Carter off the field. I don't understand. Sorry, Jamel. I don't know what happened.
So bad.
But again, I feel like so when the Niners lost their first game of the year was to Cleveland. Cleveland played man-to-man coverage, and it was very effective. And after that, Niner fans are looking at the schedule and be like, all right, what teams can do that? What teams have a Denzel Ward type? And it's like, oh, Seattle. Seattle does have that kind of a secondary. Now, I don't know. I'm just saying, man, if the Cleveland Browns can beat the 49ers, Seahawks have a chance. Seahawks have a chance. Have the Seahawks played the Browns yet? Have they?
Yeah,
we did. We beat them.
There you go. Who's the quarterback?
PJ
Walker.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. See, that's something to be hopeful for.
Yeah. So I have a theory, Grant, that I would love to run past you. And I've had this theory for a couple of years now. And I yell it from the rooftops. It's about your head coach and his family. I call it being Shanahan, that he and his dad have a tendency to break their players on a regular basis, that it goes clear back to Mike and RG3 and how he basically ruined his career because he made him play on that broken knee for so long. And then you see it a lot with Kyle Shanahan too. He has player after player, broken after broken, never, ever do you have a completely healthy season. First of all, is my theory completely off? I just called me Shanahan. Oh, we got Shanahan, because it seems like they run their players into the ground. Am I reading that wrong? Am I wishful thinking? Like it's crazy to me, the injuries that happen under that family.
I mean, his dad did it to Terrell Davis.
Yep.
The way he used Terrell Davis with no conscience. Oh, yeah. They've been doing it for decades. And I think there's a definite pattern. And I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
It seems Shanahan. A little bit like, yeah, it's almost like they think they're coaching Madden and they're not really in tune with the human element, or they don't care about the human element. But I think they feel that no one's going to ever criticize them for overusing their best players, that their number one goal, their number one job isn't to win. It's to stay employed. And to stay employed, you play your best players. And if they get hurt, that's an excuse. That's something I don't like about Kyle. I feel like he always uses the injury excuse when he's sort of like, it's like he's a race car driver and he's constantly in the red and then his engine blows. And he was like, well, my engine blew. He was like, well, yeah, look at how you were driving the car. That's a little bit like Kyle. He has this pattern all the time. Although right now his team's fairly healthy. So we'll see. Maybe he's growing at 43 years old.
I wouldn't. Yeah, we're only in week 12. You got a couple weeks still. You're in a break. More.
Yeah, this
all
is
right,
when
Evan, you get the gift of the last.
Right now.
Yeah, you get the gift of the last question for Grant.
Grant, I saw Javon Kinlaw was playing pretty well on Sunday. Your comment?
I take full responsibility.
because of you.
Absolutely, but he's been a whole different guy. No, shout out to Javon Kinlaw. I got nothing but respect for Javon Kinlaw. We both did some immature stuff. We both shook hands. We both have been pretty mature. I think him more than me. I've been pretty mature since then. And I mean, I'm always rooting for players to be successful. I'm never sitting here being like, man, I really hope he washes out of the league. That'll show him. Like, good for Javon. Good for Javon.
I respect it.
All right, I lied. 49ers, are they winning the Super Bowl this year?
No.
Why?
Because they only win one way. Only win one way. Taking a lead. And this team, we've seen them have leads in big playoff games and give those up. I just don't think they're resilient enough. I think their entire offense is built to have a lead. If their defense doesn't have a great game, and I don't know that their defense is built to just shut down a team like the Chiefs or the Eagles. Like, is their defense that good? Can you play defense like that in the Super Bowl, or do you get called for a million flags? It seems like every Super Bowl is 35-34 now. I don't think their offense is good enough. I just don't. I know they put up a lot of points, but their defense forces so many takeaways. I think once they go against a real elite team, they're not going to measure up. I mean, they lost to PJ Walker, guys. They lost to PJ Walker. I don't know. I can't get that out of my head. You guys didn't lose to PJ freaking Walker. These guys did.
You know what? If they can lose to PJ Walker, they can lose to Geno Smith.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying, Evan.
It can happen.
It can happen.
See? All right. Grant Cohen on the show starts with absolutely no respect for what can happen in this game for the Seahawks and is leaving with absolute confidence that the Seahawks are going to win.
I talked
We have
myself
done our job and turned
And then
this
when the Niners win
around.
by 21 on Thursday, I'm gonna be like, man, Evan, Dayna, you guys did it to me again.
Can we get a formal score prediction from you?
Yes, let's do that.
I'm like 24-10. Niners. I just don't see that Seahawks offense doing a damn thing. Not a damn thing.
You know, there's Seahawks fans that would take 24-10 in this game. I think there's people worried about what's worse than that. So we will see. Hey, this has been great to have you again, Grant. Thank you for taking time to come over. At Grant Cohen, COHN on Twitter. Check out his pod, his channel, everything going on Twitter. It is hilarious and often interesting as well. And he takes on just some of the biggest, I don't know, what's the right word for it?
Assholes.
Douchebag reporters as well. So I appreciate that of Grant. So thanks for coming on, Grant. It's been fun. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, and we'll see you again, hopefully maybe in a few weeks.
My YouTube channel is full of serious, sober football analysis. What are you talking about? Hilarious and fun? Not on my watch. I don't do that.
I will not tell your dad.
Break down the film, all of it.
All of it.
Two players.
So serious.
Thank you, Grant. Take care.
No jokes. It's serious shit.
Avoid the turkey, Grant. Avoid the turkey.
No, do it. Enjoy. All right. Thank you to Grant Cohen.
Yeah.
It's been great.
See you, brother.
Thanks, Grant.
Take care.
God, I freaking love him.
You too.
I love it. We should trade Twitter accounts for a week.
Oh my God! Yes, you.
What would you do if you were asking Kyle Shanahan a question?
I don't even know what I would do.
I think you'd clam up. I think you would not be able to. You would
I
not
would
have the
joke.
cojones that Grant has.
Oh, he has way bigger balls than me. No
Oh.
doubt about it. His balls are like whale sized. I mean,
There's so many people I've had to talk into following him and watching his show. I'm like, no, they're like 49ers data. I'm like, no, you have to just watch it. It's freaking hilarious. It's one of my favorite things.
It's kind of one of the only things when the 49ers are really good. It's like one of the only things that can kind of make you feel a little bit better as a Seahawks fan, because he'll always find something that they're not doing well and troll that fan base a little bit. So
true.
He knows how to get clicks and views, and he does it well. And you know what? He's not just a clickbait guy. He has some legitimate questions and analysis of what's going on there, that he asks questions that most people just wouldn't. So I respect how he goes about that. All right. We've got a little bit of time left for this group to talk about this game. We've got some questions. We could do patron questions, or we could talk the game. Do you guys have a preference?
are there areas of this game that we haven't really covered materially that are like big focal points? I'm trying to think. Kenneth Walker absence. How concerned are we about him not playing this week?
Dayna?
Well, I'm concerned because I've always loved the dual threat idea of him, but we have been wanting more from Charbonnet too, right? So you kind of want a little bit of both, but I think they're going to miss him. I think that they need his style of run and just the rotation of it and the threat of him. We haven't really seen the big, huge runs from Charbonnet at the same level. I mean, and so I think that then that takes away a little bit of that threat. Just because we haven't seen it yet doesn't mean he can't do it. We just haven't seen it. So I think that that's going to be a big problem. I don't think they're going to be running it down because I think they're going to be behind and have to throw the ball. But I do think that they will miss him to a certain extent for sure.
Yeah, I agree that it's certainly be better to have him. I don't think in this game it's like the end of the world. I think Charbonnet's running style is actually really well suited. But I mean, look, do you guys remember who faced the 49ers last year in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Can you name the starting linebackers for the Seahawks in that game?
Oh God.
I blocked that from my memory.
We had our fullback playing linebacker, right?
I don't think he played in that game. We had Tanner Muse.
Oh my gosh.
Cody Barton.
Oh, for shit.
So like that was our linebacking crew back then. We had, Kobe Bryant got abused in that game. He's just getting activated. Unfortunately, Jarek Reed's going to be out for the year with an ACL. Cody Barton will be active for special teams, but he's not going to be on the field as a corner. I'm pretty sure that the safety for that in that game, like the third safety was, I'm actually going to have to look at this up because I'm curious. It was Jones. I want to say Jones. I mean, it was a very different crew. Bruce Irvin, Ryan Neal, Jonathan Abram, and you're right. Nick Ballard did play. LJ Collier, the worst of the worst, Quentin Jefferson. So
and they held their own for a while.
That game was 23-13 49ers at the end of 3 quarters. It was a 6-point game. And the Seahawks were ahead at halftime. And DK Metcalf was a big factor in that game. They could not stop DK Metcalf, at least early. He missed practice today with a toe injury that is new. Don't know how serious that is. But DK Metcalf's come on. The last 2 games, I mean, we've been pretty critical. I think DK Metcalf's had 2 of his better games of the season the last 2 weeks.
Can I say something real good? In chat, Elena said they didn't have McCaffrey then. They did. He came halfway through last season, so he was in that game.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I guess Cade Johnson was playing on offense in this game. Derek Young. I don't know. I think the Seahawks are much better. I think the 49ers are better too. I think that the Seahawks defense has closed the gap meaningfully with the 49ers offense. Leonard Williams wasn't there. Jaron Reed was a meaningful difference. Boye Mafe was not the same player. Draymond Jones has been playing better on the, there's a lot of things that Bobby Wagner was not there. There's a lot of things that are better. The main thing I will say that's worse is people have started figuring out that they can mess with Bobby Wagner in coverage. He was the biggest hole against the Rams, and Sean McVay specifically clearly built a game plan to force Bobby Wagner to be in coverage. I think Kyle Shanahan could very likely try to do the same thing. So but yeah, I don't know. I think that that's a legitimate case to be made that the defense should be able to go toe to toe with the 49ers on offense. I think Grant's right. Can we picture a path to where this offense can do anything to be productive in this game? Can they actually get a run game going?
I mean, they haven't been able to historically, and now they're without their RB1, right? So
where's San Francisco at in run protection?
In what?
Run protection. How are they against the run?
So it's not, I mean, their run, it depends on they're okay. They're
that's what I thought. Kind of middle of the road.
Yeah. They're I think they're 10 to 15. So they're not quite middle of the road. They're a little above that, but
PFF has them at 10th for run defense. That sounds about right.
I think so. Nicholas Cox, thank you for the super chat. Says, Brian, don't give me hope for naming last year's roster. I cannot handle hope. It ruins everything.
I just think I'm talking myself into a win on Thursday, mostly not due to logic and mostly not due to rationale and
just vibes.
It's really just vibes. Lumen Field, I don't give a fuck. CenturyLink Field, Thursday night, Thanksgiving,
prime time,
Carroll drama, prime time,
green uniforms.
Here's the deal. Let's be super clear about this. San Francisco is the far better football team across the board. Anybody who debates this is a bimbo. Okay, full stop. But with that said, Pete Carroll has some chaos magic to him, and Seattle can win this game if they limit turnovers, limit their margin for error, and get a few lucky bounces their way. It's possible. I'm just telling you it's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's just possible. So if Geno, though, has a game, comes out and throws a couple of picks or something like that, this is a blowout in favor of the Niners. So it can happen, though. We'll be there, Brian.
You know what's funny? I don't know if you guys agree. I almost don't think them winning this game would prove much.
Oh, come on!
Like
how?
So
how?
I think to your point, the case to be made for them winning this game is that Pete Carroll loses to the 49ers. He generally beats Kyle Shanahan, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
He has almost as good of a record against Kyle Shanahan as Sean McVay has against Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete Carroll managed to win a game that he shouldn't win at least once a year, And so I don't know. Like it could be like a turning point. It also could just be that they find a way to come through on this. I mean, trust me, I want them to win, and I want to just see what happens. I really I really would like them to find a way for this to be a game that they compete in, that they don't embarrass themselves, and if they can come out with a win, Evan, we're gonna make we might not make it out of Lumen Field, and you might not make it out of Seattle.
I will be completely unhinged if we win this game.
Crab rave. Woo-hoo.
No, we will be going live from the stadium, and there will be video evidence of me getting stabbed.
It's possible.
I'm telling you. I actually I haven't talked about this on the pod, but the Rams game this past Sunday kind of radicalized me a little bit. Like that was one of the chippiest sports games I've ever been to in my entire life. We were surrounded by Rams fans for the first time, by the way. I've been to several Rams games actually in LA, and or several games into LA and one or two in LA, and it was chippy on Sunday, and it renewed my hatred for that fan base. I kind of didn't think, honestly, we make jokes about Rams fans not existing. Oh, they exist. They just hide for 99% of the game, and they come out with the 1% when they're winning. They're a bunch of bitches is what they are, honestly. And fuck them. And to be quite honest, I think Niner fans are worse on a 10x scale. And my patience is running out with them. They're a really bad fan base.
Brian, you might want to stay home.
So
he's not sitting with me.
No, okay.
Him and Jeff are sitting together. So yeah, well,
I'm just saying, we'll see what happens, I guess. So it is what
49ers fans are. I mean, look, I go to all the home games. I see Chiefs fans come in. I see Cowboys fans come in. I've seen, on and on. Like it is a contest between Cowboys and 49ers fans for who's are the worst fans. I even like Eagles fans more.
Here's the thing, guys. I am so down with be verbally chippy, talk shit, whatever. I don't care about that. You know what I mean? Like it's football at the end of the day. But Rams fans made it physical on Sunday. And I'm like, is this really what we're here for? Really? We're grown ass adults. You know what I mean? Nobody here is trying to get physical. You know what I mean? But Rams fans were pushing it. It was pretty intense. Actually.
That sucks, dude. I'm sorry you had to. That is the worst. And it's just
It's like when we're getting pushed from behind and not sucker punched, but it's just
you get food thrown on you or shit like that. It's just I don't get me wrong. I'm talking a little bit of shit, but it's all in fun and it's all in jest. You know what I mean? But I've never been to a Niners game, so I am really excited about it. We'll see. I'll tell you the worst experience I had was not just the fans, but I went to get something from a concession stand, and someone working in Lumen Field at the concession stand was wearing a 49ers jersey.
What?
And I tweeted about it, and I got a response back from Lumen, a DM. They're like, where was this person? Like, and I told him, like, I mean, what the hell? Like, you can't go to your home stadium and have the people working there wear the opposing, like the rival jersey. Like, what the hell? Yeah, you will. This will be a memorable night. This will be a memorable night.
For one way or another, it will be memorable.
I am so looking forward to it. I know that they're probably like odds are not in our favor, but we got a chance. And it's going to be Thanksgiving. First time we've ever hosted a Thanksgiving game in Seattle. Maybe the last time we'll ever host a Thanksgiving game.
No, we did a decade ago. Remember?
No, we did it down in San Francisco.
Yeah, I remember they ate on their logo.
Duh. Sorry. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a special game, man. I'm super looking forward to it.
My family is so pissed, but I was like, guys, come on. It's Thanksgiving. Like, the Seahawks never play on Thanksgiving. It's so rare.
Dayna.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts before we start getting into predictions?
Again, state for the record, I don't watch this game live. I just can't do it. Ever since the Super Bowl year and both teams were so good, it was just too stressful for me. I can't do it. So I watch it almost immediately after I know what's happened. I just can't. It just is my thing. But I think what's going to be interesting here is look at the divisional games across the league this year and how weird they've been and how teams that had no business winning actually won these divisional games. Like, you just have to keep an eye out on that. And I say it all the time, divisional games are weird, right? That's why the Rams always beat us, even when they're terrible. They're just weird. So I wouldn't give up all hope. I can see kind of what Evan said, a little pissy, bratty Pete Carroll coming out there and just deciding he's going to whoop their ass for some reason because he can, right? And so it'll be interesting. Do I expect that? No, I just don't want to be embarrassed on our home field is kind of what I'm hoping for at this point. But at the same time, I don't think it's completely out of the realm to have a little bit of hope that if Seattle has a first half like they've had in some of these games and then manage to continue it into the second half, even just for the third quarter, that maybe they have a chance to win this game. And remember, San Francisco is beatable. They lost 3 in a row. So it's possible.
They did. I'm gonna kick us off on predictions and then go to you two. All right. Even if I thought the 49ers are going to win, I would never predict them to win. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But here's the thing. I believe genuinely that Pete Carroll, John Schneider, that entire coaching staff have had this game circled on their calendar since last year, since they lost. I think every move they've made has been with an eye on the 49ers. I believe that they have probably been holding plays for specifically to show in this game that they have not yet shown this year. I think that Pete Carroll has already been showing a more aggressive tendencies on fourth down than he's been other parts of his career. I think we could see fake punts. I think we could see fake field goals, onside kicks. I think we could see all sorts of random shit in this game, trick plays that we don't normally see. I think that this defense has what it takes to make this a game, no matter what, to make this a slugfest. And so I'm looking at this game and saying, I think the Seahawks are going to find a way to actually beat this 49ers team, shock every single person watching, and change the conversation. So I think we are going to start this gauntlet with one of the most unlikely wins of the season. I'm going to say Seahawks 24, 49ers 14.
So they win this game and lose the next 3, is what you're saying.
I'm not going to predict yet. I will have more information when
at a later date. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Dayna, how about you?
I think it's actually going to be closer than that. I also too refuse to pick the 49ers ever, but I think it's going to be like a 23-24 game. I think it's going to be super tight. I think it's going to come down to freaking Jason Myers, and we are going to have to apologize to him for reaming him deservedly so for this last week. And I think that he's going to redeem himself. But so I think it's going to be close. So I guess if I have to pick a number, I'm going to say 23-20 Seattle.
Oh man. This is really difficult because all logic and data and rationale is like, guys, the Seahawks are getting smoked on this.
Yes.
Like, let's just be super clear about it. Like 2 touchdown minimum type of loss is what my rational side of my brain says. But football isn't played on a spreadsheet, and sometimes crazy shit happens. So we're going to go with the vibes on this one. I think it's a low scoring game. I think Seattle wins. It's going to be really stupid. It's going to be like 17-14. It's like the Seahawks are not going to put up 30 points, on this defense or something like that. So unless there's a defensive score, but Seattle Niners 17-14.
Can I just say this? All of us were like, okay, we're going to win, even though we don't really think we're going to win, but we're going to win. So let's just pick this. We're totally
there's just principles at play here, and I will never pick them no matter what. And you know what? It does remind me of a few years back. I think Grant's got some points about how Russell was just a factor that, was always at play.
Yep.
And there was the last game of the regular season. It was for the division. And the Seahawks had to bring back Marshawn Lynch and Robert Turbin.
Yes.
And they had like nobody. Like they had so many guys injured. We didn't have our left tackle. I can't remember. Like we had just like a total joke of a roster. And the 49ers were just stacked. Like they seem like they always are. And we should have won. Like, what was the receiver out of Hawaii that we all thought was going to be?
Oh, John Ursua. John Ursua
catches a ball that if he just would have been like in half an inch, it would have been a touchdown, and doesn't do it. Ends up getting stopped at the goal line. Next play, we had no business. We spent that whole week joking and trolling the 49ers of like, man, you better hope like if you don't win this, then you can't win anything. And they were so pissed at Evan and I, they doxed us after that game or tried to. Yeah. So I've seen crazier things, but man, whatever it's supposed to happen, I want my team to show up and actually fucking hate this team as much as I do, to actually like make George Kittle eat some dirt, to like be the physical team, to bring the hits, to bring the energy, to actually just fucking fight. Like I want this to be a game that 49ers don't get to just gloat about.
Yeah.
And I want to see that.
Lay some hits, rock them, mess them up. I want this to be like a physical football game.
Let's get Devin Witherspoon blowing up Purdy on a blitz. Let's get Devin Witherspoon picking Purdy off and taking it the other way and leaving him just like confused.
Oh my gosh. Let me tell you something. Rams fans were such bitches when Witherspoon took that receiver. I don't know who it was on the screen and just like suplexed him. Oh, I went off when that happened. I was having so much fun. I was like, fuck the penalty. I'll take the penalty 100 times out of 100 times. Yeah. I'm taking that penalty.
Yeah.
I want plays like that. I want a physical, rough football game.
Let's hope we get it.
Let's hope we get it.
Let's hope we get it. All right. I want to thank Dayna O'Gorman at Dayna OG on Twitter, Evan Hill at Evan Hill HB, and of course, Grant Cohen, our special guest tonight, for coming on. If you haven't given the show a like, what are you doing? Takes 2 seconds. Give the show a like, click subscribe to the channel. You will want to subscribe to the channel because we might go live at any point this week. If some shit happens, we could have multiple inappropriate videos getting posted at any time that night. So just be aware. Evan and Jeff are coming to town. All sorts of odd things could happen. Subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you'll appreciate it. And then go to patreon.com/hawkblogger. Sign up now. Get access to the Slack channel. Join the community. Have conversations with other Seahawks fans. All good folks. And we'll probably tweet out some pictures tomorrow night from Daniel's Broiler where we're having dinner for Ring of Honor with a bunch of folks. It's going to be great. You can join Ring of Honor too. I might still be able to even get you a seat if you do. So patreon.com/hawkblogger. Until we meet again, have a wonderful, happy, healthy, well, maybe not healthy in the sense of what you eat, but healthy in the sense of how you feel Thanksgiving, and we will talk soon.